It's your man Alex, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys my take on the super popular and viral Italian beard fade. As someone who is Greek, has a full-fledged beard, and over 16 years of self-haircutting experience, I think I'll be able to teach you exactly how to give yourself the Italian beard fade with ease from the comfort of your own home. It's clean, it's classy, and it'll have you looking like you just walked out of a high-end barbershop without spending a dime. So let's get right into it. So to get started with this Italian beard fade, I'm going to be using my trimmer with a T-blade to put in the neckline underneath my chin and my neck. So I typically like to do this line, and this line is very important, so you have to do it kind of like parallel with the upper cheek line. So what I like to do is do it directly above my Adam's apple. So I'll basically look at myself directly in the mirror, and in the straight line, if I draw an imaginary line from my chin onto my neck, it creates that line just above my Adam's apple, and that's where I like to put in that first horizontal guideline. And then I'll do a straight line on the side of my neck on both sides, and then as soon as I feel like I have the lines perfectly straight, I'll just remove all of the bulk underneath. So now I'm going in and putting in the guideline on the upper part of my face, and this is kind of really crucial because you want to get it toward the bottom of your mustache and then draw a perfectly straight horizontal line going through your beard. Now I know it looks like you're cutting off a lot of hair, and sometimes kind of looks like you are, but this is kind of how it has to be because a lot of the Italian beard fades have a lot of bulk more so toward the bottom, like underneath your chin and your jawline. So putting in that first guideline horizontally straight directly from your mustache toward your ear is exactly what you want. And obviously you don't have to make it as low as me. You can go a little bit higher if you want to, but this is typically the way that I've been seeing a lot of others, especially Italian barbers, doing it themselves. So I feel like this is a great way to teach it as well. So going in with the guidelines now, it's pretty much following the same exact steps as a normal haircut that any barber would teach you as well, and it's just a normal fading step. So we're working with the no guard lever open. That's going to be the first guideline, and typically I like to go about ½ an inch down because again, we're going down the beard, not up the head like for a self haircut, for example. So I'm going down about ½ an inch, and then I'm following up with the no guard lever halfway, and then I'm going to follow up after that with the no guard lever closed. And if for some reason you still see that first hard line when you're fading it out, you can always go back to the trimmer and get rid of that hard line a little bit better. So now I'm just going in with the number 1 guard lever open. And again, I'm going about ½ an inch, give or take, maybe 3/4 of an inch, and just removing a little bit of that bulk to create more of a gradient within the color of the fade, right? You see how I just gave myself a new self haircut. You see how the gradients goes from light on the bottom to dark on the top. We're kind of looking for the same exact type of thing with the gradients in the color of the fade for your beard. So you kind of have to make sure that the guidelines are spread out relatively a good length. ½ an inch, 3/4 of an inch, give or take, is what you're really looking for. And then you want to go in and fade it out afterwards, fade out the little hard lines. Now, one thing about a beard fade is that you don't have a lot of, there's not much space to work with, so it's kind of easy and relatively quick. So you could probably give yourself a nice beard fade like this in, let's say, 10-15 minutes, give or take. It's relatively quick, and it's easy because your face is in front of you, and it's not like you're cutting the back of your head like you would if you're cutting your own hair like I do. So everything's right in front of you. You don't need to have crazy mirrors or bend your body in weird ways. Doing your beard is relatively simple because it's right there in front of you, and everything's easy to see. So that's also a really nice perk of having a nice beard fade, is like you can learn these more expert level things and still rock really nice fades and beard fades and look really cool and presentable and stay cool with like the modern trends and whatnot. So after you go in with the 1 lever open, you're gonna go in with the number 2 guard lever open, and really what I'm doing is just removing all of the bulk throughout my entire beard. So I'm getting underneath my neck, I'm getting my chin, I'm getting pretty much all of the hair that you're seeing underneath, all that dark hair, with the number 2 guard lever open. And then as soon as I go in with the 2 lever open, I'm gonna go back to the 1.5, I believe, lever closed, and then possibly adjust the lever there, and then just flick out that last hard line that you'll see soon. And I wanted to mention really quick, because I'm not sure if some of you guys are beginners or if you're more intermediate or advanced when it comes to, you know, holding a clipper in your hands and cutting your own hair or fading beards and whatnot. So if you guys have any questions about the tools that you need to buy and what you think, you know, you should get and what I recommend that you guys look into, given that I've been cutting my own hair for 16 years and, you know, I've just been in the hair industry for quite some time and studying the game and learning from other barbers as well for a very long time, and just teaching this concept of cutting your own hair to save time and money. Check out the link in the description below if you want to learn exactly what type of tools that I recommend. You know, I go over really affordable tools, beginner, intermediate, and more expensive tools that, let's say, barbers would use. So if you want to check out exactly what tools I recommend for self haircuts that don't necessarily break the bank, let's say $100, $150 for all of the tools that you would need, definitely check out the link in the description below. So now that we're pretty much done with the beard fade, we have to do a lot of the detail work around the beard, okay? So I'm just going in and cleaning up the little landing strip just underneath my bottom lip, and I'm straightening it out using my trimmers. It's really nice to have the T-blade on your trimmers. If you can, get a trimmer with a T-blade, because the blade is a little bit wider, and it's just a little bit easier to use the corners when you're detailing as well. So cleaning up the landing strip with the trimmers, I'm also going in and being as careful as I possibly can, go slowly pushing down against my mustache. Now, and then I'm also kind of rounding out a little bit, just the ends of the mustache, because I don't want to have it to be boxed. Right, boxed mustaches look kind of weird, and most Italians have a more rounded mustache. So rounding it out at the edges is definitely something that's, you know, key when it comes to being, you know, if you want to look Italian, you gotta have, you know, round mustaches, you know. Hey yo, baba da boopy. No, I'm just playing, but definitely round out the corners of the mustache. Use the trimmers to push down the upper part of the mustache to straighten the top line. And then what I like to do usually is grab my scissors. I like to grab, you know, $5 scissors that I got from Target. I'll use my little brush to push down the hairs, and I'll just cut as straight of a line as I possibly can. I don't want to bring it up too high, just above my upper lip. So right where the red starts to, you know, blend in with the color of my skin, right at the lip is where I'm trying to cut. I don't want to cut it too high by accident, because then the mustache looks, you know, thin and kind of weak. And, you know, Italians, they got, you know, really big mustaches and nice and full big mustaches. So keep it a little on the lower side. Don't push up the mustache a little bit too high. And then just use your scissors. I like to use the scissors because I feel like it offers a little bit more precision, a little bit more accuracy. And the trimmers are definitely more on the risky side. If you use, you know, trimmers that spin at 7,000 RPMs, you know, you run the risk of narrowing off your mustache, you know, cutting it off by accident. So with all that being said, here's the before 360 of exactly how my beard looked before I started giving myself the Italian beard fade. My beard was definitely overgrown, and you can also see just how thick and dark my beard gets as it grows out, which is why it's super helpful to have stronger clippers and trimmers that will perform well and last a long time. You can also see the line underneath my neck, which runs parallel with the upper line on my cheeks. This is my take on the super popular and viral Italian beard fade. This was actually the first time I've ever attempted doing this, and I have to say I actually think it looks really good. It only took me about 10 to 15 minutes to do, and I think it contours extremely well with my haircut on top of my head. It gives a really unique light skin look in the center of my head, and on the top and bottom of my head, the colors burst outward from light to dark, giving it a really cool look that I think everyone should try out at least once or twice to see if you like it or not. Overall, I'm really happy with how this Italian beard fade came out. If you have any questions, please feel free to DM me on Instagram. Let me know in the comments below how you think the beard fade turned out and what other self haircuts or hairstyles you'd like me to try out next. But make sure you leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and check out this video if you want to take your self haircuts and fading skills to the next level.